tutorial-based videos, and this will be, obviously, as I said, a short tutorial on showing you how to export videos properly and efficiently in Premiere Pro. Now, it won't be as easy as your normal iMovie sharing process, and that is why we have created this tutorial. And of course there are a load more options than in your normal iMovie, so you can choose a lot of different things, but don't worry, we will only be covering the basics and the necessary options to make or make your video as big as possible in resolution and as small as possible in file size. So let's get started. So if I go over to my Premiere Pro project, which I have completed, or in your case also have completed, you've got everything done, you've got everything cut, and you're sure you want to export your video. So first what we want to do is make sure that we know where the project is saved. So we'll go under Speichern unter, or Save As if you have an English version, and then you have to find out where you have saved your project file. Now this is different from your video files, it's the project file from Premiere Pro itself now and things like that, but I've made a little folder inside my film section, and I know where it's saved. Now that I would recommend doing that as well, because then you'll know where all your project files are and you can easily find them when you want to export them. So now we know where it is, we want to save that, replace, yes. So it saves it again, and just keep this open, it helps the processing, and then we will switch over to Encoder, which I have already open. Now this is another program from Adobe which you hopefully will have gotten with the installation of Premiere Pro. If you haven't, go to Steve and go get that as soon as possible, because you will be needing this program as well to export your videos. Now if you can't find it, just have a look in your search and type in Encoder, and there it is. That's the easiest one, and it will work with all your Premiere Pro movie projects. So now that we have everything set and open, we will go over to the plus sign. Now I know there are a lot of options and things over here, we don't want to choose any of that, just leave that all alone. Just find the plus button and select that. And then, as I mentioned before, this is where the destination of your project file is vital, or you need to know that, so we can choose it in here. So I choose this, the dialog scene Premiere Pro project file, and I open that. Now it will come up with a little window asking you for the sequence. Now the sequence in Premiere Pro is this little part of your timeline. It says sequence 1. Now if you're doing more edits of one video in one project, let's say cutting a dialogue scene and then adding it into the bigger movie, you can use sequences because it'll give you more ease with your single video clips that maybe like a scene that you want to put into a smaller place, not in this big file. But seeing as we're only doing small videos, one sequence will be enough, and there will also be one sequence opened on default, and usually I only have one sequence. So waiting for this to load with the Premiere project file, it will then search for the sequence, and you can then choose this sequence to open the video that is attached to it. Now this is taking an unusual time. There we go. It should be done just now. Come on, one little part. And of course, if you want to know, if you're more interested in having a look at all these different options that are available in Encoder, you can have a look at another tutorial video, not supported by us, but somewhere on the internet, to expand your knowledge about encoding and exporting videos and knowing all about the video sizes and how they all work. Now, now that we have our sequence loaded, we can choose that one and hit OK, and then it should bring up a little section in the queue, and the first thing is default. This is the codec we are working with. Of course there are other ones like QuickTime or MPEG-2 or JPEGs or whatever. These are, well, QuickTime will also give you a video, but it is a much bigger video file, and that's where H.264 is much smaller. It'll give you the same resolution, it'll just compress it much more, so you don't have huge files that cloud your workspace. So keep that checked. And this is where the resolution part kicks in. Now it'll set it on default as an Android tablet 1080p 25. This already sets it for the project's resolution settings, so what you've done in Premiere Pro, it will recognize what size your video is and will select a corresponding option. Now the Android tablet is not a very good one because it gives you a different bit rate and it doesn't work so well. So we will choose the HD 1080p 25 option, which is the standardized HD, full HD version. Obviously there is also a HD 1080i 25, don't confuse that with the 1080p version. You want to choose the 1080p if you have been shooting in that, obviously. Now, to find out if you have been shooting, or if you don't know in what you've been shooting in, have a look at your videos, have a look in the get info parts, and it will show you the size of the video, and if it's 720p, that's, or these two are the standard or default, most standard or universal resolutions you would find these days in your phone. Like an iPhone would probably, the newer ones would shoot in 1080p or 720. But all the cameras I think that we have in school shoot at 1080, and they're set at 25 frames at default, so that should work normally. So we would choose that. And then this part over here, we can scroll over and have a look, is where our video will be saved when it's done. So seeing as I've already exported my video, it is already in my film folder and in my dialog scene folder. So you can give it some random name, test render, save that, and then it will obviously save that video in the corresponding folder. Now to have a look or specify your options a bit more to give you the maximum quality out of your render, we will be clicking on the name of HD 1080p 25, clicking on that, and that should open a little window. It'll give you a little preview window with your video. You can scrub through it and have a look if everything is there and is there as you want it. Now the first thing you want to do is click Maximale Renderqualität verwenden. So that means it will give you the maximum quality in your setting that you've chosen. So we'll click that, and the second part would be scrolling down a bit in the video section over here, is clicking the Rendern mit maximale Tiefe, which will give you, as the name says, maximum depth in your bitrate settings, and a lot of other confusing things that you shouldn't worry yourself with. Just click it and it will give you the best settings. Now this is the VBR1 Durchgang, so that means it will only process the video once in the render process. Now yes, it'll give you a good video. However, if you want best quality, like let's say for your final film, I would suggest choosing two processors. so VBR2, which will give you, which means it will process the video twice. It will take obviously twice as long, but it won't increase the file size. It'll just have a look if it's done mistakes in the first process and correct these and go into more detail in your render. Now these are the only options we have to choose, and we can leave everything else. Audio we can leave, so don't try and mess with anything else or else you'll have a problem. So that's all we want, and then we hit OK. Now we have everything set. We have only one option or one project in our queue, and when we want to render it, we press the little green arrow, which will start rendering the video, as we can see down here. Now I will stop this because I already have this video. Hit no. It will show me a clock and a spinning wheel of death. And obviously, because rendering takes a long time and it's very strenuous, I would say, for your laptop, and our laptops are not the fastest, I can agree. I would suggest hooking it up to a power source while processing, and I wouldn't do it during school because it takes quite a while and you can never really be sure how fast it is. I would suggest doing it at home or in our double lesson. Just leave it sit there, don't do anything else, put it onto the power, hook it up to power and let it render, and just let it do its thing. It gets really hot, don't worry about that. It just takes up a lot of energy, and if you're only running on battery, you might risk that your battery runs out and your video is gone. So this has been our render video. I hope you have gathered everything you need, and if you need any further help or if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask us in class, and we will gladly be there to help you with any other questions that you have regarding Premiere Pro or the export service. Thank you.